very useful thing for matte paintings is adding things like cables and wires and stuff like that. And it can be really tricky because, for power lines over here, just drawing in cables using a brush tool or a pen tool can be, rather treacherous because you're not going to get a really nice curve on that. And one of the techniques that I can recommend for doing this is actually using the pen tool. So I'm going to just start up here. I'm going to go to my pen tool, like so, and I'm going to select shape. Notice there is a path here, but I actually want this to be filled in as we go. I'm going to set the fill to null, which means I'm not actually filling this in as a shape. If I have this as a color, what it's going to do is as I start creating, it's going to create a filled in shape, which is not what I want. Instead, let's set this to no fill, and let's add a stroke to this. So I've currently got selected as black, but you can go with dark gray. If I'm going to stick with black, we can always change that at another point. We've got the width of our stroke here, so depending on how wide that is how wide your cable or whatever it is that you're creating is going to be. I'm going to drop mine down. Let's put it, say, let's try that. It's a bit tentative. Remember, this is quite a high-res image. If your computer is struggling, don't forget you can reduce the size of your image slightly. Mine's up around 5 or 6K at the moment, which, is pretty large. Alright, that's kind of getting there. We're at about 4.3. I'm just going to put this up to a nice even 5 points for that. Alright, so let's actually look at creating some fun cables and stuff like that. So, if I want to have some cables swinging from one area to the other, I can click on my pen tool and I can click to the next point and then drag, and you can see I can start creating a sort of loop. Now, once I've done that, I'm just going to enter. I don't want to do any more than that. If you want to reduce your size slightly as you're going further away, you can. And you can click from one point to the next and then click and drag. So I'm doing this as individual points, and then you can keep going from there. Or what you could potentially do, if you're really clever, is you could do multiple click and drags, create to your point and to the next point and stuff like that if you're doing some really squiggly things. But for me, I'm just going to do a few like this. Now I am aware that I've sort of got rid of some of the stuff, so I'm looking at putting some curves around that are just going to add this little effect to my image. I just want to see a little bit of movement as far as where some cables and stuff might be. And you can see this kind of working. We're getting a little bit more fun stuff. So these are like little details, but they can really add some nice effect to this, and I might even have some, see how it looks if I have some coming off to the ground. Probably put a bit of a loop on that as well. Etc, etc. So I'm probably going to leave that for now. There they are there. They've all created separate shapes. I'm just going to grab all those and I'm just going to merge the shapes for now. You still can access them individually as shapes, but the other thing you could do, if they are quite thick, which these aren't, they're not tiny, but it is quite a high res image. Don't forget you can potentially also go to your effects button, layer style, and do like a bevel and emboss on it. It's probably not going to show much because these are literally down to individual pixels, but you could do a little bevel and emboss if it's something big, a bit like we did with the sign, to make it appear like it's got a little bit of thickness to it, like so. I'm just going to merge these shapes like so. There's a bit of a kind of a weird thing happening, so let's just rasterize them, bang, and merge. There we go, and there we have it.